year was 47 BC. One of the greatest military commanders in history stood trapped inside a city that was quickly becoming his grave. Outside the walls waited an Egyptian army that outnumbered his exhausted soldiers many times over. Every road was blocked. Every escape route was disappearing. Supplies were running low. Every passing day made survival less likely.
Yet thousands of years later, historians would remember this campaign for one astonishing reason. Somehow, a force of barely 4,000 Roman legionaries walked away victorious. Not only did they survive, they completely changed the future of Egypt. But how? At first glance, it made absolutely no sense. The Romans were far from home. They had no secure supply lines. Their enemies knew the land better than they did, and almost every advantage belonged to Egypt. If numbers decided wars, this battle should have been over before it even began. Instead, history took a completely different path.
To understand why, we have to begin with a civil war that had nothing to do with Egypt. Rome itself was tearing apart. For years, Julius Caesar and Pompey the Great had fought for control of the Roman Republic. Their rivalry divided senators, generals, and entire provinces across the Mediterranean. When Caesar finally defeated Pompey in Greece, the defeated commander fled across the sea, searching for one last chance to survive. His destination was Egypt. But Pompey never received the welcome he expected. The young Egyptian king, Ptolemy XIII, believed he could gain Caesar's favor by eliminating his rival before Caesar even arrived. Pompey was murdered the moment he stepped ashore. His severed head was prepared as a gift.
When Julius Caesar landed in Alexandria shortly afterward, Egypt expected gratitude. Instead, Caesar was horrified. Pompey had once been his ally, his son-in-law, and one of Rome's greatest citizens. Even in war, this was not how Romans believed great men should die. That single decision changed everything.
Rather than leaving Egypt behind, Caesar stepped directly into its political crisis. Two royal siblings claimed the throne. King Ptolemy XIII ruled from the palace with powerful advisors surrounding him. His older sister, Cleopatra VII, had been forced into exile. She refused to surrender her claim. Soon, Caesar found himself caught between two ambitious rulers, each desperate for Roman support. Neither side intended to compromise. What began as a diplomatic dispute quickly became something far more dangerous. Alexandria was one of the richest and most heavily populated cities in the ancient world. Its harbors controlled trade across the eastern Mediterranean. Whoever controlled Alexandria controlled enormous wealth, influence, and strategic power. As tensions grew, Egyptian forces quietly surrounded the city. Roman patrols reported increasing enemy movements beyond the walls. More soldiers appeared every day. The streets grew quieter. The atmosphere became tense. Caesar had come expecting negotiations. Instead, he found himself surrounded by an army that seemed to grow stronger with every sunrise. And before long, there would be no way out. Inside Alexandria, the situation deteriorated with alarming speed. Every sunrise brought fresh reports of Egyptian reinforcements arriving outside the city. More soldiers filled the streets beyond the Roman positions. More ships appeared in the harbor. More supplies reached the Egyptian camp. The balance of power shifted a little further against Caesar every single day. His veterans had fought across Gaul, crossed the Alps, and defeated the greatest armies of Rome's rivals. But this was different. For the first time in years, they were trapped. The city that had once offered protection was becoming a
prison.
Food became increasingly difficult to secure. Fresh water could no longer be taken for granted. Every warehouse, every harbor, and every narrow street suddenly became a battlefield. Meanwhile, the young King Ptolemy XIII believed time was on his side.
Why risk a costly assault when the Romans could simply be worn down? His commanders tightened the blockade. They watched every road. They controlled the surrounding countryside. And they waited.
Caesar understood exactly what was happening. If he remained behind the city walls, his army would slowly disappear without a decisive battle ever taking place. If he marched out, he would face an enemy that outnumbered him several times over. Neither option promised survival.
Then another problem emerged: the harbor. Alexandria's ports were the only lifeline connecting Caesar to the outside world. If the Egyptians seized complete control of the sea, no reinforcements would ever arrive. No food, no weapons, no escape. Realizing the danger, Caesar made a bold and controversial decision. He ordered operations around the harbor that would change the course of the entire siege. Smoke soon rose above parts of the waterfront. Chaos spread across Alexandria as flames reflected across the Mediterranean. The fighting intensified. Roman legionaries battled through narrow streets while Egyptian forces attacked from every direction. Every building became a fortress. Every intersection became an ambush. No one could predict what the next hour would bring. Yet despite the chaos, Caesar appeared strangely calm. His officers noticed it. His soldiers noticed it. Even his enemies began to wonder whether the Roman commander was seeing something they could not. He spent hours studying the city's defenses, the coastline, the movement of enemy forces, and the geography surrounding the Nile. He rarely acted without a reason. Somewhere behind that calm expression, a plan was beginning to take shape.
But it was an extraordinary gamble. If it failed, Caesar would almost certainly die inside Alexandria. His entire army would be destroyed. Cleopatra would lose everything. And history would remember Egypt, not Rome, as the victor. The Egyptian commanders believed they had already won. The trap was closed. The Romans were exhausted. The numbers were overwhelming. Victory seemed inevitable. What they didn't realize was that Julius Caesar had no intention of fighting the battle they expected. And that single decision would soon change the fate of Egypt forever.